At the beginning of the film, we are taken to a meeting between the 12 Shinsho and Princess Kotoha Kali. They are all gathered to find and choose a new successor to the current princess. It is revealed that this ritual has taken place 65 times before. The 12 swear their loyalty and protection to the new princess. The scene then shifts, introducing us to the person I believe to be the central character of the story, a high school student who has won numerous awards at school competitions. While he's getting ready for school, his younger sister calls him down for breakfast. We then see him interact with his mother and learn that his name is Arata Hinohara. On his way to school, Arata meets his friends Sheru and Zoru, who ask to borrow a video game from him. However, nothing goes smoothly at school. Those he believed were his friends end up betraying him. Meanwhile, we are introduced to another Arata, this one from a different world. He is in the middle of a heated argument with his grandmother. As he runs away, she casts a spell on him, and he falls into the water. He is forced to impersonate a girl because he is a descendant of the Harem clan, which possesses the power of the Amatsuraki. In the Harem clan, only girls can become rulers of Amawakuni. Since Arata is a boy, he flatly refuses, stating that he's male and doesn't have the Amatsuraki, and if the truth is discovered, it would surely mean death. His grandmother tells him that if no girl from the clan takes the throne, the entire family will be executed for treason. She urges him to protect the family at all costs. She hands him 2 sacred swords the legendary Hayagami passed down from their ancestors. Not believing in its power, Arata casually lifts one of the swords, which upsets the gods, triggering a heart attack in his grandmother. Soldiers are on their way to capture him, so he has no choice but to continue the disguise and think of a way to deceive the princess and the 12 Shinsho. As the palace prepares for the ritual, Arata, still disguised, delays the ceremony. A former maid of the princess named Kotoha gives him a necklace and secretly escorts him to the throne room. However, during the ceremony, a Shinsho named Kanate suddenly charges in and attacks the princess with a slash. At that moment, the princess realizes Arata is a boy. She cries out, claiming this is a rebellion led by a false Arata. In panic, Arata jumps into the water and escapes. As he flees, blood flows into the water, and the villagers believe he has assassinated the princess. A warrant is issued for his arrest. While on the run, Arata is spotted by villagers and escapes into the Kiro forest, a mysterious and eerie place. Exhausted and overwhelmed, he wishes he could just disappear. Suddenly, something strange happens and the 2 Aratas switch places between the worlds. To keep it clear, I'll refer to them by their hair color: brown-haired Arata and black-haired Arata. The brown-haired Arata, now in the fantasy world, tries to find his way out of the forest, but is ambushed by Kanate, who assumes he's lost his memory due to the forest's curse. Arata hides behind a tree as soldiers rain arrows on him. Just as he's about to be hit, Kotoha saves him. Even so, they are quickly discovered and must flee. Another Shinsho, Akachi, confronts Kanate and questions why he didn't eliminate Arata when he had the chance. Kanate replies that there's no need to waste effort, he'll capture him eventually. The next morning, Arata and Kotoha return to the home of the original Arata's grandmother. They tell her everything that happened at the ritual and about the mysterious forest. The grandmother reveals that those who enter the forest always emerge changed, and since Arata claims to be from another world, she warns he may never return. Just then, Kanate arrives at the house, demanding Arata's location. Kotoha hides him, but Arata decides to step out and face him. When one of the soldiers attacks, Arata instinctively grabs one of the Hayagami swords and shields Kotoha. Kanate, surprised, draws both of his own Hayagami and launches an attack. But Arata, for the first time, awakens the true power of the sword and blocks the attack with a surge of divine strength. Episode 2 begins with Kanate's attack being absorbed entirely by Arata's 2 Hayagami. Realizing this, he's forced to retreat. As the house burns, the soldiers and Kanate flee the scene. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hinohara brown-haired Arata is found sitting shirtless in the middle of the road. People assume he's a street performer or actor and begin crowding around him. In another scene, Arata, black-haired, along with Kadoha, escapes the collapsing house. Arata hears from the grandmother that in this world, all gods manifest through the Hayagami, and the one he holds was passed down by his family chosen for him. Elsewhere, Akachi meets with Kanate, demanding that he capture Arata alive so he can be brought to trial. Arata and Kadoha go to the coast to talk. Kadoha still believes Arata has simply lost his memory. Noticing his necklace is missing, she gives him a replacement. At that moment, Kanate reappears, having captured Arata's grandmother, and demands Arata draw his sword, believing Arata is hiding two Hayagami within him. However, Arata's grandmother had already hidden the Hayagami. Knowing this, Arata gives himself up, understanding that Kanate's true goal is to obtain the swords. While being escorted away, a strange connection is triggered between both Arata's necklaces, opening a space for them to communicate. The two share everything they've experienced in their respective worlds. They decide to use their names to distinguish each other. Hinohara for the one from the real world, and Arata for the original. The next morning, Hinohara is brought to trial. He tries to expose the truth about the 12 Shinsho and the attempted rebellion, but no one believes him. He's sentenced to exile at Gatoya, a prison known as a living hell. Kanate decides not to kill Hinohara immediately. He wants to learn more about the Hayagami's power. On the way to Gatoya, Kadoha sneaks into the transport and is captured too. She brings Hinohara his bag, which contains his Hayagami, useless without a wielder. Though Hinohara attempts to use his swords again, they won't respond. But his necklace glows, and suddenly, both he and Kadoha are drawn into the mind of the princess. Episode 3 begins as the princess communicates with Hinohara through the necklace. She wants him to hear her final wish. She tells him that she's using her own power to keep the two Hayagami connected, but her strength is fading. If the swords are used recklessly, it could plunge the world into chaos. She pleads with Hinohara to become the Sho, the one who will unite the Hayagami, and carry them before her time runs out. Moved by her trust, Hinohara promises to fulfill her wish. Kadoha teaches him how to store the two Hayagami within his body. Soon after, they arrive at Gatoya, a massive prison. Hinohara feels as if he's seen it somewhere before. As they enter, whispers spread among the prisoners about his alleged crimes. There, they encounter two boys, one red-haired and one white-haired, who try to rob Hinohara. The red-haired boy attacks and slashes Hinohara's arm. Suddenly, the prison starts to shake violently. The other inmates scream about the price being paid, and many flee in panic. Strange pipes throughout the prison begin to move, and those who don't escape in time are swallowed by them. A mysterious woman approaches Hinohara, explaining that this phenomenon is the Tree of Judgment, which selects two prisoners every day. In exchange for her information, she takes a hairpin from Kadoha. Meanwhile, Kanate continues his search for Hinohara's swords. Akachi warns him not to act alone and to report everything. Hinohara tries once again to summon the Hayagami's power but fails. Kadoha helps him clean his wound and uses her healing abilities to ease his pain. The prison shakes again. The ground beneath Kadoha collapses, and she falls. Hinohara runs to save her, but the other inmates see an opportunity. They want to turn him in to gain their own freedom. Hinohara escapes and hides. While resting, a shadowy figure appears and speaks to him. It knows that Hinohara possesses two Hayagami. After speaking, the figure vanishes. The woman from earlier returns and offers to reveal Kadoha's location in exchange for his bag. She also tells him that the red-haired boy Kanate was the one who found and took Kadoha. Though she takes no payment this time, Hinohara rushes off to find her. Elsewhere, Kadoha thanks Kanate and the white-haired boy Lindsay for saving her. As Hinohara searches for Kadoha, he is ambushed by another prisoner, Yuyuji, who attacks him. Hinohara is forced to draw his sword. After the fight, Yuyuji explains that Hinohara saved him from being attacked by other inmates. Yuyuji reveals he lost a ring that his mother left him, and he's determined to get it back. He and Kanate were thrown into Gatoya due to some mistake. They believe they may have a way to escape. Yuuji warns that even the prison guards possess Hayagami, making escape nearly impossible. Just then, Kanate returns with Yuuji's ring. However, he challenges Hinohara, thinking he's like the other criminals. At that moment, the Tree of Judgment activates again. This time, two people are taken: Kanate and Yuuji. Yuuji pushes Hinohara out of the way and sacrifices himself. Seeing this, Hinohara is filled with guilt, feeling powerless. But now, he's more determined than ever. He vows to rescue both of them. Episode 4 begins. Hinohara and Kotoha decide to rescue Kanate and Lindsay, following the underground pipes that may lead them to where the two boys are being held. They expect to face the warden, but know that defeating him might be the only way to escape Gatoya. Meanwhile, Kanate and Lindsay are bound and suspended in the air, about to be judged by the massive entity known as Tsujiga. While searching, the ground beneath Hinohara collapses, but Kotoha catches his hand in time. The two reunite and continue their search. They eventually encounter the mysterious woman again, who warns them not to continue, fearing they will die. However, Hinohara is determined. To show his sincerity, he returns the hairpin he had taken from her earlier. Back at the warden's chamber, Tsujiga offers Kanate and Lindsay a twisted bargain. They must fight each other to the death. If one wins, he'll go free. If both refuse, they die. The chains tighten when they hesitate, so Kanate reluctantly picks up a weapon and charges at Lindsay. Though Lindsay doesn't fight back, he just waits. At that moment, Hinohara and Kotoha arrive. Hinohara demands Tsujiga stop the trial, declaring it unjust. Tsujiga mocks them, saying both boys are selfish and care only for their own survival. He questions their friendship and calls out Lindsay for never being a true friend to Kanate. These words trigger painful memories for Hinohara, echoes of past betrayals by those he once trusted. In desperation, Lindsay strikes back, landing a blow on Kanate. Hinohara realizes that Lindsay did it on purpose to stop the trial and protect Kanate. But Tsujiga is unmoved and sentences Lindsay to death for murder. He also binds Hinohara, tightening the chains. Enraged, Hinohara draws one of his Hayagami and slashes through the chains. He then battles the writhing pipes controlled by Tsujiga. As they pierce and lash out at him, he uses every ounce of strength to fight back. The intensity of his emotions awakens a new power within him, so strong that even Tsujiga feels it. The pipes burst into flame. Tsujiga's true form is revealed, his body fused with the very system of the prison. Hinohara manages to land a strike on one of Tsujiga's blackened Hayagami, and it triggers a flood of memories from Tsujiga's past. He was once betrayed by a trusted friend, thrown into molten lava, and stabbed with his own sacred sword, corrupting it and turning it black. The prison's pipes sprouted from his body afterward, becoming part of his curse. The inmates and Tsujiga himself beg Hinohara to finish him, but Hinohara refuses to kill. Instead, he calls out to Tsujiga's humanity, saying he understands his pain. He, too, was betrayed, but he still believes people can change. Moved by Hinohara's words, Tsujiga merges with Hinohara's Hayagami, becoming part of his power. Hinohara now wields a new blade infused with Tsujiga's strength. With this new ability, Hinohara restores the prison, frees the inmates, and ends the reign of fear in Gatoya. Afterward, Akachi leads Hinohara's group to an old house, Kanate's childhood home. Inside, they find a boat, which they plan to use to travel to the capital and return the sacred swords to the princess. Tsujiga, now at peace, tells Kanate that Hinohara's two Hayagami are the original blades, the source of all other sacred swords. Episode 5 begins back in the modern world. Arata, black-haired, is undergoing intense physical training. His family still believes he has amnesia and treats him cautiously. His sister assumes he's just traumatized from being bullied and encourages him to play along. Meanwhile, Hinohara's group is exhausted from the journey. His sword is damaged and his body bruised. Despite this, they press forward, following a map to the capital. On the way, they notice a column of smoke rising in the distance. They investigate and discover a caravan of refugees, people from Jinchai's village. There, Jinchai finally reunites with his long-lost mother. The villagers explain they are fleeing an impending war. In the past, the 12 Shinsho fought fiercely for the right to crown a princess. After the current princess was chosen, peace was maintained. But now that she has collapsed, conflict threatens to erupt once more. The villagers are heading to the Sacred Strait, a passage that opens only once a month. They plan to escape through it. Jinchai, feeling guilty for his past as a bandit, chooses not to go with them. He still regrets the attack that caused him to be separated from his mother. Initially, he declines to join Hinohara's group, but Hinohara invites him anyway, giving him a place among them. While taking a break, the group is suddenly attacked by a rampaging beast named Muju. They flee and encounter a young girl holding an egg, apparently the cause of the creature's rage. Hinohara urges her to give it back. When Kadoha asks why she stole the egg, the girl explains that she wanted to cook it to nourish her pregnant mistress. Suddenly, Muju charges again, only to be stopped by a mysterious man who appears just in time. The girl introduces him as her master, and the man is revealed to be the one who saved the tree from Muju earlier. Suddenly, Hinohara loses consciousness. When he awakens, he finds himself in the house of an older man who, more importantly, is a Heigami wielder and one of the retainers who once served Kannagi. If this man finds out that Hinohara not only wields 2 Heigami, but is also the one accused of assassinating the princess, things could end badly. As they talk, Yukas enters the room. He already knows that Hinohara is a Heigami user, but not yet that he's the alleged assassin. Yukas repairs Pate's weapon and reveals that his Heigami ability is called Zen, the power to restore and repair broken objects. Meanwhile, Kannagi visits the grave of someone who is implied to be a past lover. While there, he hears that one of his remaining retainers has been attacked by Akachi. Kannagi insists he doesn't want any part in the war, he only wants to live peacefully among the villagers. Hinohara, who's watching, reflects that killing just to claim a throne is barbaric. He then steps out and says there's another way to become king by earning the allegiance of the 12 Shinsho, just like how Tsujiga chose to follow him. Yukas begins to suspect that Hinohara may be the one who gained Tsujiga's loyalty and perhaps even the one who's now being hunted. But despite his suspicions, he declares Hinohara must be innocent. After all, Tsujiga could see people's true character and willingly submitted to him. As more of Kannagi's retainers are killed one by one, only he remains. Realizing the urgency, he rushes to Yukas's village only to find Akachi has arrived first. Akachi tells Yukas the full truth. Kannagi was the one who assassinated the princess and framed Hinohara using the power of Atlatna. He tries to persuade Yukas to join his side and help overthrow Kannagi. Episode 6 continues even after hearing the truth. Yukas refuses to betray Kannagi, choosing loyalty over fear. Akachi reveals his ruthlessness by taking Yukas's wife hostage, just as he did with the other retainers who refused to submit. As Hinohara prepares to confront Akachi, Yukas suddenly surrenders to protect Hinohara and save his wife. But the moment Yukas kneels, Akachi betrays him, killing both his wife and his servant without hesitation. Now fully aware of Hinohara's presence, Akachi prepares to strike. Just then, Kannagi arrives. He demands to know why Akachi did this. But Akachi doesn't give a clear answer and instead attacks with full force. Yukas uses his dying breath to shield Kannagi from Akachi's first strike. Furious, Kannagi leaps into battle, hurling his attack at Akachi. Akachi counters by creating 4 towering stone shields, forming a barrier that resembles ancient river stakes, strong and immovable. He even summons giant claws of rock to strike down any incoming threats. As the two clash, the ground begins to shake. Akachi breaks through the defense and goes on the offensive. He creates a massive stone arrow aimed directly at Kannagi, who blocks it with fire. While Kannagi is distracted, Akachi circles around and lands a surprise strike, sending them both crashing to the ground. Their fall causes a chain reaction, shaking the area and knocking Hinohara and his group from their hiding place. Hinohara quickly activates his power, ensuring everyone lands safely. Kanagi once again demands answers from Akachi, but still gets silence. Then, Makachi, one of Akachi's subordinates, speaks up. You once loved Yusu, didn't you? The woman buried in the grave Kanagi visited. It was Kanagi who killed her, wasn't it? This stuns Kanagi. While he's reeling from the revelation, Akachi summons his dark Hayagami, forged from the weapons of fallen retainers absorbed into his own power. He commands the earth to swallow Kanagi's Hayagami into the ground. Stripped of his power, Kanagi tries to fight back barehanded, but is no match. Akachi lashes him with stone whips, demanding he submit. Unable to watch any longer, Hinohara steps in and asks, "What's the point of being king if all you do is make people suffer?" But Akachi simply replies, "The war has already begun. Submit or be destroyed." He walks away, leaving Kanagi defeated and powerless. The young girl from earlier begs Kanagi to help Yuka's, but he refuses because once a Hayagami is absorbed, there's no bringing them back. Worse yet, Kanagi no longer possesses a Hayagami. Aftermath, reflection and resolve as they recover, Kanagi blames himself for everything. This war, it all began because I betrayed the princess. Kanagi and Hinohara part ways. The others tell Hinohara that he must become king, as the princess once told him. But Hinohara snaps back, "I never wanted to be king." Elsewhere, the other Arata black-haired, from the real world spots Suru snooping around his house. When he chases him down, Suru says he only came to return the video game he borrowed earlier. Kotoha and the others search for Hinohara, who blames himself for being too weak. He wants to become stronger, but realizes that seeking power just to feel strong makes him no different from Akachi. Kotoha helps ground him emotionally. She reminds him that Tsujiga didn't submit because he was forced, but because he believed in Hinohara. She also repeats his grandmother's words, "Your sword wasn't made for battle, it was made to bring peace." Hinohara meets the little girl again and promises he'll try to save Yuka's, even if it seems hopeless. Now, he finally understands the princess's words that he must unite the kingdom. Episode 7 begins. The Avatar decides to visit Hinohara's school to see it for himself. There, Data encounters someone who used to be Honda's friend, but now deeply hates Hinohara. Meanwhile, Hinohara's mother is negotiating with a teacher so the Avatar can return to school. While touring the school, two students call Avatar up to the rooftop. One of them, a top student, confronts Avatar, feeling ignored and tries to attack him. But Avatar turns the tables and knocks him down. Back with Hinohara, Tohain twists her ankle after inhaling No2. She arrives at the shelter house with the others. Someone still unidentified is secretly following the group. KT volunteers to gather herbs for Tohain. While they're alone, Tohain confesses her feelings to Hinohara. But Hinohara excuses himself, believing her feelings are meant for Avatar, not him. Suddenly, the Exama glows again, and Avatar and Hinohara meet once more. Hinohara recounts everything to the former Avatar, asking his opinion about Tohain. The Avatar only sees her as a little sister, someone he must protect. Since they're now separated, he asks Hinohara to protect her in his place. Love, war, and fate all begin to tangle. Avatar recalls the moment he handed Wiki to Hinohara. After hearing the story, Hinohara rushes to the gate, but it has already closed. Meanwhile, KT discovers a grave near a field of medicinal herbs. Suddenly, a wall of fire surrounds the area. On Hinohara's way back, he's captured by a mysterious camera-like device. Someone wants to steal his two Exama. Hinohara resists. Columns of flame erupt, just like at Kenny's place. The enemy says without two Exama, he can't control the fire, so uncontrolled flames will keep rising in that region. Hinohara is forced to retreat. Just then, Kenny appears and steals Hinohara's Exama. He says Hinohara is too weak and incapable of hurting anyone. As he's about to strike Hinohara down, Tohain arrives and begs him to stop. At that moment, she's surrounded by flames, a flashback for Kenny, reminding him of a Misu once trapped in a similar fire. Hinohara leaps into the flames to save Tohain, but becomes trapped inside too. After a moment of hesitation, Kenny jumps in to save them both. He and Eikchai recall their past from training together to the tragedy when Galaxy was in danger and Kenny stayed behind to save Canary and her sister. Currently, Tohane is treating an old wound on Kenny's shoulder, a wound of the heart, not body. Kenny recounts how they came to this world. When he fell seriously ill, Amisu went in search of a life-saving herb, even as magma surged around. Though warned, she went, and Kenny found her trapped in the flames. He tried to save her, but was burned. Just as he was about to give up, Himura the fire spirit and one of Canary's Exama appeared and chose Kenny as its wielder. Vinahara understood, and Kenny joined his side. But others took notice. Though still just a child, the girl had to work here. At the workshop, her job during break time was smashing rocks. Hinohara comes to meet Kotoha. She still isn't used to talking to him, nervous, stumbling over her words. Just then, Card Wiki marked by a single star approaches. He wants Hinohara to defeat the one who slaughtered all his soldiers. That person is none other than the fake Hinohara, the catfish imposter. Hinohara had already been paid in advance, along with a hairpin as compensation. Later, he runs into Suya again. As they talk, Hinohara asks about Uranami. Suya explains that Uranami was once a noble and compassionate man, a visionary. But in time, he became obsessed with seeking perfection in all things, even in himself. Flashback: earlier that morning, the boy from the previous day, the one humiliated by the boss, had hauled more than one cart of rocks, but still got his wages withheld. Outraged, Hinohara tries to confront the man, but Suya stops him. The boy's name is Luca. Luca leads Hinohara's group back to his home. Karate asks about Luca's parents. Luca explains they used to run a bakery, but after going bankrupt, his father fell ill and passed away. His mother followed not long after. The man from earlier, the current boss, used to be a manager at their bakery. Seen outside confrontation, Sairo, having overheard everything, pulls Kotoha outside to talk. E-Hero questions Sairo why would someone with such a strong personality like Kenny side with Windows. He suspects Kenny only wants to take the two Arami from Hinohara. Kenny responds firmly, "Don't try to provoke me." That night, Kanate cooks dinner for everyone. As Hinohara watches, memories of his mother surface, how she once cooked for him in the same way. Taking a bite, a dark thought flashes through his mind. Maybe the world would be better off if I just disappeared. But he quickly shakes it off and encourages Kanate to stay positive. He had felt the same way once too. He says, "Nobody is perfect. Just live and let the past go." Those listening outside are surprised by his words. Kanate and Hiro then suggest taking Luca out of the city. Kotoha and Kane also want to help. Just then, Card Wiki jumped down from the ship, interrupting the battle. Katawaki wanted to save Hinohara, because he wanted to defeat him with his own hands. But he too was caught in Ayanami's spell. That spell caused Hinohara to fall asleep, luring him to submit. At first, Hinohara resisted, but Ayanami dug deeper into his mind by using the image of Hinohara's mother to manipulate him. Everyone watching realized Hinohara wasn't falling for Ayanami's trick. Enraged, Ayanami no longer wanted Hinohara's two Amatsuruki. He now wanted to kill him, turn him into a child, and make him disappear forever. But when Hinohara heard Kotoha's voice, he refused to give up. His power saved both himself and Kotoha. At that point, Ayanami lost his mind and rushed to find his mother. But his mother had already passed away long ago. The one he saw was just a water spirit he had raised since childhood. His real mother had forced him to live by rigid ideals of perfection, and even after he became a Shinsu godlike being, she never changed. She had died before acknowledging him. Because of this, Ayanami believed that if he could make everything perfect, his mother might finally accept him. He picked up a keepsake she had left behind. He had never touched it, believing he could only open it once he had pleased her. Hinohara urged him to open it. Inside was a bracelet she had once given him. The eldest elder recounted that Ayanami's mother was never truly strict. Ayanami only thought so because she wanted him to grow strong enough to one day rule in her absence. Realizing the truth, Ayanami accepted what Hiroko had told him, that Hinohara was the one who would save him. Ayanami apologized and asked Hinohara what he thought was most important. Hinohara replied, "Connection like yours with your mother." Just then, Cardwiki emerged from the water, ruining the moment. He said what Hinohara should be worrying about is episode 12. Kadawaki once again challenged Hinohara, trying to force him into becoming a demon. But Hinohara was determined not to fall again. He wanted to change Kadawaki's heart. Kadawaki refused to listen and launched an attack. Hinohara had no choice but to draw his sword. Their swords clashed, shaking the surroundings. The battle continued, while others like the 5-star ship and Kodoha watched. Kodoha worried Hinohara might become a demon again and wanted to intervene, but everyone knew this was Hinohara's fight. Kadawaki kept pushing Hinohara, but Hinohara isolated himself, refusing to make anyone submit. Kodoha cheered for him from outside, saying everyone believed in him. But Kadawaki's power now fused with Orochi was overwhelming. Just as Orochi was about to consume Hinohara's strength, Ayanami decided to submit to Hinohara, lending him his power. Many objected, but Ayanami insisted this was more meaningful than being king. It might even make his mother proud. Still, Hinohara clarified, "I never forced anyone. They chose to follow me, with their own dreams and hopes." With that, Ayanami submitted, transferring his immense power. The sheer force of it shattered the palace. Hinohara asked again, why did Kadawaki want to fight him so badly? Kadawaki didn't answer, only launching another attack. But now, Hinohara, empowered by Ayanami, blocked everything. Kadawaki finally understood Akashi's intention. He shouted, "Akashi, are you watching this with the eye you gave me?" Everyone was shocked to learn he had Akashi's eye. Kadawaki launched another attack, but this time Hinohara fought back and blew him away. "You will never make me submit," Hinohara said. Suddenly, his 2 Amatsuriki glowed, summoning towering stone pillars from the water. His determination resonated with the 2 gods, who formed wings of light behind him. Kanagi announced that Hinohara had fully awakened both gods of the 9 mountains and rivers. Hinohara launched a powerful strike that erased Kadawaki without a trace. Kodoha climbed the stone pillar to reach Hinohara. At that moment, he gave her a lock of his hair. All the gods who had once followed Ayanami now begged Hinohara to let them serve him. Instead, they wanted to help. Hinohara warned Avatar about someone from the 6 stars who had swapped places with Kadawaki. The remaining 6 stars were readying themselves for battle against Hinohara when he reached Kanagi. Hinohara promised Yusu he would reclaim the 2 gods Homura and force Akichi to submit. Akashi visited Yusu and somehow, Kadawaki had survived. He swore he would fight Hinohara again, but Hinohara, with the strength of his 2 gods, vowed he would change Kadawaki's heart and fulfill the mission the princess had given him. And that's the end.